There's a huge difference between the mentality and skills of those who train for survival and those who train in sports. But I'm going to use a sport analogy. And so, I trained in judo and, eventually got my brown belt. And I was lucky. My coach was an Olympic coach at the time. And he was like, during his competition days, he was number 3 in the country in unlimited class. So my point is, while I could tap out and throw black belts in my class, if I tried to compete against collegiate level, let alone state level athletes, I'd just get my ass kicked left and right. And I did get to spar with a national level judoka who was, 10 pounds heavier than me and stuff, but it was like at touch. He would say, tell me which direction. And I'd say, right forward, right side, right back, whatever. I knew exactly which way he's gonna throw me. I was prepared to reverse it, to block it, whatever. But as soon as he got the grip, I went flying. There's such a night and day difference in ability. And my point is, my experience in 93, 97 was, I had 3 years experience in FMA. I had 7 years in FMA. And there were old men who could just dominate me, And then so for me, they're like, the equivalent of national level athletes in a sport. And I'll say this about the sport aspect, if I've played different people from different systems in their type of sparring or their sport sparring, and yeah, I was happily destroyed in their sport. Like they can, their ability to generate power, their control of measure, whatever the rules of their particular games, they should be. That's what they specialize in. People are going to spend a lifetime learning in FMA. You're going to get some who are going to be the backyard students, the private students, closed-door students. And, hopefully for each old man, each system, they're going to find an heir, and then, they carry on that lineage and stuff. But, if it's a one-on-one and there's still like, no one even knows about, some of these little known badasses, right? But then there's also the folks who go the national athlete, or, they represent their country in sport. That's another way. And then you got the commercial systems where there's a whole bunch of them, like in Bikini Tertia or Doce Pares. And then you got the seminar circuit. So what's my point in all of that? There's different focuses in FMA now. So the flavor of what I knew and experienced as this is the real shit is highly colored by what I was looking for because of my experience with the Makdojo Korean martial arts. Anything that was large scale, I kind of frowned and stayed away from. With all these different ways that FMA is going, some of that old street knowledge and some of the nuances there are being lost. And especially for systems that originally developed for a regional type of sparring, where they had their own particular rules and their measure. Like, why is this style like this? It's because when they started to do their traditional sparring that they might do at their fiestas, town fiestas, they started at corto. They're touching weapon to weapon, and then their hands are on each other's elbows. So of course they're gonna focus on corto and medio techniques.
There's a cultural context.
There's a cultural context. And like I'm from San Francisco. When I growing up, if you got into a street fight in middle school, high school, you were, you're a coward if you kicked. Unless you're Asian. Then like, it's okay, he's Chinese. I'm like, I'm Filipino, but thanks for letting me kick. But I was still, a punk because I would take people to the ground. It's just, I guess I always liked going there. So, certain things are bawal. Oh, you're dirty because you stab. Oh, you're dirty because you're throwing. Where other styles, no, that's how they train. They've been doing sweeps and throws, since that grandmaster made it part of their system. So, and then, a lot of the old men had their dirty tricks, but once you know the dirty trick, It doesn't necessarily work well, but you know, you got to understand the context that this stuff was trained in. Some techniques are totally canceled out by a fencing mask, you know, or even lacrosse gloves, which are lighter than most hockey gloves. Were you a style that traditionally specializes in hand hunting, has pressure drills, has solo practices that develop and refine that? Well, if you train in the traditional way and you think I'm going to fight in this other format, well, none of that shit's going to work there. And that's why I like to spar with different types of tools and with different type of people under different rule sets, because otherwise the efficacy and the fighting spirit of those traditional methods will die out. Because people are going to think, oh, that shit doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work if you're playing by those rules and with that equipment. But then it's like, okay, how do we then practice with it and also keep safe? Like my longest time nursing an injury was 8 months. I couldn't really train for 8 months. I was in that much pain because of injury to my back. And so it's, you know, you find the balance. A lot of the old way was like, train hard, you know, boom, boom, boom. But it's like, 49, I'm like, screw that. Stuff that used to take a couple days to recuperate now takes 2 weeks. No, no. So I got to train smarter and stuff. But, you know, find people that are willing to train those ways, willing to have good conversations so that you guys can grow and learn. Like, I don't want to fight with just anyone, but I do want to spar with and push it with people who, like, okay, we both have particular goals that are aligned, improving ourselves, improving our knowledge of a particular system of techniques. And then, you know, because you're also taking a risk. You know, what might be safe with one person, another person is like, shit, I've been to the ER from getting injured, and I've had to go to the ER with people that, you know, I didn't mean to, but stuff happened. You know, so that's no fun. So it's like, you know, and once again, there's that thing of trust and respect and like, where are you going to push it? And then, you know, and if you do get injured the way I've been injured and other people have been injured, can you still be like, hey, you know what, that was the risk we were willing to take to play like that? And, you know, and stand up for them when your friends might be like, no, that person's fucked up. I'm like, no, we agreed to that. And it happened. So also another thing, I love the idea of being like responsible. And, you know, when you do a high risk activity like this and you're, you know, the other person's your opponent, but it's also your own opponent and stuff. That's a special bond. And like, you know, some of the people I most respect and most like that are from other systems are, I met them the first time I met some of these folks was the day I sparred against them.
2, 1, time, break it off.
Good with that stick.
Helmet's off.
Not fire.
Oh, I smell that gunpowder.
Fun.
Fun.
Good fight. He's pretty fast with that stick.